Okay, I've got to go. I just hit record. All right, talk to you soon. Bye. That was a fake phone call. Today's episode of the Daily Vedantic in our continuation of the series on the Gita and the major themes within the Bhagavad Gita is on yoga. Yoga means union. And within the Gita, it talks about the three classical yogas, the three classical paths to union with the Supreme, with the Self, with the Divine. You could call it anything that doesn't have a whole lot of baggage for you, the infinite, but we're going to call it the Self. But Vedanta calls it the Self with a capital S. And this union, that is the goal. In fact, this entire experience is from a separation from our natural state. And our separation in Judeo-Christian circles, you'd call it the fall. In Islam, shaitan, the word for the devil, actually means distance, separation. In Greek, our Greek word for the devil, diablos, diabolical, that means thrown apart. So this separation, that is the fundamental problem. And we are doing everything we can to get back to this union, whether we know it or not. Feeling separate, feeling isolated, feeling alone, that is the root of nearly all of our pursuits. That's why we look for love. That's why we have kids. That's why we look for admiration, respect. We're chasing this union with the world around us, with the experience of the world around us, in all of these wayward ways. And the 2,500-year-old, 701 verse, the 27-minute read poem of the Bhagavad Gita is all about getting back to that natural state, getting back to that union. There are three classical yogas that the Gita talks about, and that is karma yoga, yoga of action, yoga of service. There is bhakti yoga, yoga of devotion. These are the Sanskrit terms, but just in English, it's yoga of action and service, yoga of devotion, and jnana yoga, which is yoga of knowledge. There is also as all of us in the West think about hatha yoga. There is that in the Indian Vedantic context of physical yoga, the yoga in the yoga studios, in every street corner here in LA. There is a place for that, but that's seen largely as like if you can't practice karma yoga, bhakti yoga, or jnana yoga, if you can't practice one of these three, then go stand on your head. That's slightly tongue-in-cheek, but that's also the viewpoint, is that's for just obscene compulsion. And there's great benefit for a daily practice, 20, 30, 45 minutes of yoga for your limbs, for your body. There's yoga every day at the ashram. It is amazing, don't get me wrong. But as a path to the divine, the Gita outlines the three classical yogas. And today's episode is about the calibration between the three, because every path involves all three. Whether it's Eastern, Western, whether it is St. Peter, or whether it is a follower of the Buddha, it is a combination of these three paths that get us to our natural state, the state where we are no longer separated, no longer apart. The first one is karma yoga, yoga of action, yoga of service. And this was actually covered in yesterday's episode, so I won't go into too much detail there. But the next is bhakti yoga, devotional yoga, or union through devotion. That is, a great example of that is saying, Christ is my teacher. That's who I'm going to follow. And it's the year 32 AD, and you're following him around all over Israel. And You are even there the day that he dies. And hopefully there the day that he's resurrected. And that is a devotional approach. Devoting your life and following a teacher, a master, following the ideals that they are teaching, following Christian ideals by reading the Bible each day or reading the Gita each day and devoting a few minutes in every morning to reflection on these timeless principles. This is Bhakti Yoga, and this is absolutely core to the pursuit of oneness with the divine. Within Vedanta, you need all three. You might be more wired for Karma Yoga or Bhakti Yoga or Jnana Yoga, but you need all three. The ashram is absolutely oriented towards the path of knowledge, which we'll get to in a sec, but it has space, like I said, even for Hatha Yoga every morning. And then there's karma time where you're serving those around you. And then there's also Bhakti Yoga, where it is devotional singing. The Gita is clear that the most impactful path, the most efficient path to union is through knowledge. It is like the G6 versus walking in terms of getting to where you want to be. Within Vedanta or various traditions around the world, you have to have all three. And it comes down to which speaks to you the most in terms of which you might prioritize over the others. This isn't something that you can just shift or change out of desire. It will just speak to you more if a devotional path is the one for you to take, a path of action or a path of knowledge. And it will also be a calibration of which is the most efficient for what you are yearning for. If you're watching this, then you are likely oriented towards knowledge, seeking knowledge and the path of knowledge. But action and devotion are clearly going to be a part of your pursuit as well. You might just prioritize that time before the sun rises to reflect on the words of the masters, as it is often put, the knowledge that is passed down for thousands and thousands of years by the lighthouses of wisdom, the masters themselves, that we cover daily in this podcast, but they're your usual suspects. It might be Christ for some, it might be Buddha for others, it might be Muhammad for others, and for a daily Vedantic, it might be the Upanishads, the Bhagavad Gita, the Brahma Sutras. At the ashram, the 3-year course is Swami's books, which are just so damn straightforward and powerful, unlike anything I had seen or have seen since, to the Bhagavad Gita, like I mentioned, for 2 years, spent on this 27-minute conversation between this warrior prince and his charioteer, or the Upanishads, which the 3-year course dives deeply into 4 of them. But whatever it is, cultivating that wisdom through knowledge and reflection on these words of the masters, that is the Jnana yogic path. That is this 3rd yogic path of Jnana Yoga. But even that requires action, devotion, and knowledge. It is setting aside that time and taking it sincerely. It is the devotion to the teacher or the words, the master, that you are reading and reflecting with. That is also the knowledge itself. But I'll end this by saying a line from the Rig Veda, the oldest of the Vedas. It says, "Truth is one, sages call it by many names." So this is not an exclusion of any traditions that you might hold dear, but it is a nudge to take the knowledge, the wisdom within that tradition as sincerely as you can. Because reflecting on that knowledge can reorient, realign, transform your life in a way that just going through the motions in service or devotedly going to church every week, it can reorient your life with an efficiency that the others just don't have. And those are the 3 yogic paths, the 3 paths to union with the divine. We'll see you tomorrow in this 20-part series on the Bhagavad Gita, where we'll dive into the concept of detachment and the appropriate interpretation of such a deep, deep concept. This is the Daily Vedantic. We'll see you tomorrow.